When you stop caring about people's skills, their integrity, and you start focusing instead on gender and race and other things that are different from that, the worldwide virus is fundamentally racist, fundamentally sexist, and fundamentally evil.
People have sued, okay? So I'm sorry. So yeah. Some of those injured in the attack, I'm back to the article, and the father of one man who was killed have now sued New Orleans municipal government, claiming it failed to protect revelers ringing in the new year that day. And I believe they are going to get their due. All right. Can we minimize the misogyny or they are gaslighting Karen Bass the same way they did Kamala? We as being allies need to call it out immediately when it happens in real time because they are already creating a false narrative about her on this app. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's the video is just right there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she failed at her job and she can't even answer questions about it. This is part of her job as well, to answer questions. She is not the victim. She's supposed to do her job. She could go have her mental breakdown on her time with her own money, not with tax money. Do with all the money it's gonna cost. No. Y'all goofy. There's no other way to say it. They keep wanting to spend your money. We need more money. We couldn't do it last time. We need more money. Oh, sorry. You gave us that money before. I remember that. We need more money. Right? What was that? Damon Wayans and them. More money, more money, more. We need more money. Sorry, this is funny. Gavin Newsom demands answers from whoever's in charge of California. All right, we're gonna get to that one on another one. But, speaking, since we're just talked about Gavin Newsom, who wants to know who's in charge and responsible in California for this nonsense, because this is what they do. This is Mayor Bass, who went silent in response.
Cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor. Have you nothing to say today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Like, is she just gone catatonic?
G for being absent.
What the hell? So I'm sorry, we can't minimize misogyny. This is Mr. Jeezy Blacksy.social, whatever, on X. I'm sorry, but we can't minimize misogynoir. They are gaslighting Karen Bass the same way they did Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah? We as men and allies need to call it out immediately when it happens in real time, because they are already creating a false narrative about her on this app. Oh my God. Yeah, if you cut funding to a very necessary thing that then becomes the exact catastrophic event that everyone was like trying to avoid. Okay. Yeah, she cannot control the wind. She cannot control the fire and where it went, or arsonist or whatever else may have caused this. However, what she could control was the budget. What she could control is where she was at, where she was putting in the work. Okay. And she can definitely control how she's sitting here looking like she's lost for words, don't even know where she is right now. Y'all need to get these people out of these offices. They are not equipped mentally, emotionally, any of that to do the jobs that you've given them. And the consequences can be catastrophic. Okay. So let's get into that a little bit more. So we got the LA fires. Okay. Karen Bass is in light of especially what happened in New Orleans and Mayor Cantrell and the police chief down there, being female, and then that black female FBI officer special agent who was leading the investigation into the New Orleans attack, who came out and contradicted immediately the chief of the police and stating that it was not a terrorist attack, and then later obviously had to retract that. Um, you know, a lot of the, people were pointing out that she had a nose piercing and obviously being black, that this is some sort of DEI hire, with, the FBI special agent, who spoke too hastily about that not being a terrorist incident. Um, but the whole idea of us using socialist policies cloaked in lots of racism and feminism and sexism and just using those shields of victimization to do things that we are not considering very American right now. We're supposed to take care of our neighbors, we're supposed to take care of home, we're supposed to take care of our communities. And when we're making cuts to things and we're doing things that are not necessarily in alignment with what we've run on what people are expecting of us, it's a little disheartening. And so the criticism, you can tell people, oh, it's too early to criticize, but it's like, okay, well, we don't want this all to die down and then everybody goes back to business and then we just forget this all happened and we forgive and forget and then move on and then it happens again. Or we got other cities where this can happen. So we do want to get people going. We need people to be accountable. But yeah, Karen's under heat, Mayor Karen. So the LA chief is the
dollar
ringing the
budget
bell
cut.
here.
And as we know, any budget
DEI versus DEI.
I want to be very, very clear. Yes, we took a $17 million budget cut. And as we know, any budget cut would negatively impact our ability to carry out our mission. I want to also clarify that I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. It's my job as the fire chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department to make sure that our firefighters have exactly what they need to do their jobs. And that's why I'm talking to you today. The Palisades fire, everybody's seen it. It is absolutely one of the most horrific natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles. And even with an additional 100 engines, I tell you, we were not going to catch that fire. But with that being said, let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service. And having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LAFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LAFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety. That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their jobs. And I tell you,
She said it wasn't me.
I want to be
very clear. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I mean, people are upset. It's crazy. It's a lot of fire. It's a lot of people's homes destroyed, missing, dead, God only knows the air quality and the long-term effects. Yeah. But a while ago, Karen was praising Castro. There's lots of things going on down there in LA. You get the Epstein and the Diddy and the migrant gangs and the looting and it's a lot. Smart cities. Who knows? But she had to apologize. She said she's sorry. She didn't mean it. She renounced her praises of Fidel Castro. She said she developed her perspective over time. Sounds like when the CTU went down there for their Venezuela trip. It was a little short time, but still, it's only few. It was only 4 of them, but it was enough. It was enough to bring back, to bring it all back, to bring it all back to Chicago. Rep Karen Bass. This is Zachary Warmbruch. I guess I'm sure elementary school was a doozy. Rep Karen Bass on Sunday walked back 2016 comments praising Cuban leader Fidel Castro. As scrutiny of her views toward the communist government threatened her potential selection as former Vice President Joe Biden's running mate. Okay. 2020, guys. On Fox News Sunday, the California Democrat faced questions about several visits to Cuba in the 1970s and a statement she released after Castro's 2016 death, saying the passing of the Comandante en Jefe is a great loss to the people of Cuba. Bass told Fox host Chris Wallace that her perspective, quote, developed over time, quote, and that she understood that the Castro government, quote, was a brutal regime, end quote. Bass said she spoke with colleagues from Florida who raised concerns about her comments and that she, quote, would not do that again. For sure. End quote. Quote, I absolutely wouldn't have not put that statement out, end quote, she said. They checked her ass down there in Florida. Okay. Scrutiny of Bass, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, has grown in recent days as she emerged as a top contender to be Biden's pick for vice president of the Democratic ticket. That scrutiny, I'm sure, did not come from inside of the Congressional Black Caucus. Republicans have started to attack her ties to Cuba. She will be the highest ranking Castro sympathizer in the history of the United States government. Florida GOP Senator Mark Rubio said on NBC's Meet the Press, Bass brushed aside Rubio's characterization that Republicans, quote, have decided to brand the entire Democratic Party as socialist and communist, end quote. Yeah. So she thinks we're just labeling the entire Democratic Party as socialist and communist. She thinks we're just doing that. We're just making it up. Big blue cities with your lines of services or not. Or not. Still, Bass signaled an openness to strengthening diplomatic ties between the United States and Cuba, in line with the policies of former President Barack Obama. Fourth term, fourth term coming up. It's just very important the way the Obama administration had opened up relations with Cuba. She said the best way to bring about change on the island is for us to have closer relations with the country that is 90 miles away. I consider myself a Castro sympathizer. That was a quote from Bass, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff. Okay. But yeah, so she was questioned about the fire.
Stretching will not make you flexible and it will not eliminate your recurring injuries. Stretching will relax your muscles and make you feel
The blame game over these wildfires, that is well underway.
Yeah, it sure is. In tonight's Politics at Large, Steve is with us in studio with the confrontations caught on camera with the governor and LA mayor over their handling of this response. Steve.
Yeah, Marley, Tony, these videos both show the emotions people are feeling surrounding these wildfires. They also show some raw moments with the mayor and governor.
That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
Literally. Sky News captured this moment. A Los Angeles mother confronting Governor Gavin Newsom over the wildfire she says burned down her daughter's school.
When your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
The governor's office releasing this statement in response to the video clip. After hearing from Rachel, the governor immediately spoke to President Biden, and as a result of that call, the president committed to covering 100% of the response costs for the next 180 days. That's a game changer.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
This video, also captured by Sky News, shows a reporter awkwardly ignored by LA Mayor Karen Bass. The video taken by the journalist at an airport as Bass was returning to LA. She was in Africa when the LA County fire started. At a press conference, she did respond to questions.
My question to you is, what explains this lack of preparation and rapid response?
Let me just say, first and foremost, my number one focus, and I think the focus of all of us here with one voice, is that we have to protect lives.
Bass and Newsom are being questioned for state and local policies that could have changed the outcome of the LA wildfires.
People are always looking for somebody as a scapegoat.
Doug Elmitz is a Sacramento expert in crisis management.
I mean, it's a tragedy, and it seems to me at this moment in time, everybody should come together to address the issue. There's always time to lay blame, and that will come.
A firefight for the ages, and the finger pointing already underway. Well, there has been a focus on fire hydrants running out of water. The governor's office included in their statement to CBS 13 that 3 million gallons of water were stored in tanks connected to those hydrants before the Palisades fire. And that supply was all used because of the extreme nature of this fire. But that's been a focus on a lot of concern directed towards elected officials. And that is not going away. Those questions will continue to be asked.
Wow. My deepest condolences and prayers to those affected by these wildfires. I hope to God people can recover and get exactly what they need to do so, because it is, I can only imagine, completely devastating having this happen. There's so much stuff popping up on my news feed, but we're gonna stay focused here. But yes, there is a real problem here in just mismanagement, gross mismanagement of funds, gross mismanagement of resources, priorities, and agendas that seemingly align with that mismanagement. Because we as the taxpayers and the citizens are not seeing what that benefit is, but obviously, they've made their moves and their decisions outside of our realm of our scope of knowledge, right? There's a lot of information on like who is supposed to take blame with this. Is like the man said here, there's the winds and I think it's Santa Ana winds that they said have reached, gusts that were just not able to be predicted. And, they just exhausted a lot of their water supplies. Everybody is kind of throwing blame, and people have all their opinions in retrospect, and everyone's suddenly a climate expert or a firefighter or a some sort of engineer right now. And it's sad that we have to all just kind of wonder what we could have done better, but we shouldn't have to do that anymore. So it's just like, yeah, we can take the time, you know, to criticize these people. You know, when it's too soon or not, it depends on who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Because if I lost somebody, I want answers today. I want answers very much right now. And that's what that reporter in the tunnel, you know, in the looks like was on the way on a flight that caught her and stunned her. You know, it looks like that's what that reporter was begging to know, was on behalf of those who had lost lives. Okay, because I want to know right now, especially if I'm in that, you know, category of people that I know who, you know, I'm like, no, I need to know. You're not waiting. You know, I don't want to know. Because people have already filed lawsuits. Okay, I think it's like seven families. I want to say, let's see if I can. I said I wasn't gonna pull it up, but you know, I think that was in this one. It kind of told you. Sorry, Newsom's team noted that prior to the fire's outbreak earlier this week, the governor ordered the prepositioning of assets, including 65 local government fire engines, 7 water tenders, 7 helicopters, 9 dozers, and more than 105 specialized personnel through the state's fire and rescue mutual aid system. Bass defended herself in a press conference in Los Angeles on Wednesday. Quote, I was on the phone on the plane almost every hour of the flight. So although I wasn't physically there, I was in contact with many of the individuals that are standing here throughout the entire time, Bass said. She also noted she's been in touch with President Biden and other national partners. Bass has also come under scrutiny for approving a budget reduction to the city's fire department ahead of the fire. So we saw that in the video with Kristen Crowley, the fire chief of LA, that's saying she was severely limited by those cuts of $18 million. And Bass said Wednesday that she was confident the assessment did not affect the city's response and noted that, quote, within this fiscal year, LAFD actually would go above what was allocated on July 1st, end quote. All right. Other state and local officials across the board are beginning to face questions as well, including California Insurance Commissioner, a position that's up for election in the midterms. Weeks before the fires, current Commissioner Rick Lara described the state as being in an insurance crisis, end quote. The idea that there was, from what we can tell, largely a lack of preparation is criminal, and heads should effing roll for how effing criminal it was, Gatto said. Excuse me. Democrats dominate politics in California, which makes them a target year-round for Republicans across the country. Okay, this is according to The Hill, but you know how they make their money. Okay. In the case of the wildfires, some of the GOP are pointing to that dominance, saying voters in California and around the country should take notice. Quote, the politics of this moment challenge Mayor Bass. They challenge Governor Newsom, but because Democrats dominate the state, it also provides an opening for their political rivals and their political opponents to highlight California not as the epitome of the American dream, but as the loss of the American hope, said David McQuan, a political science professor at California Sonoma State University. McQuan said this is doubly problematic given the results from November's elections in which Democrats lost the White House and the Senate majority. It has led to soul searching in the party about how to move forward. It should have, right? Put together the logistical hurdles dealing with the home front crisis and the sharp criticism on the national stage, quote, highlights and exposes a vulnerability that Democrats have when Democrats are trying to find their footing and their message in the wake of what happened last November, he said, end quote. Others have defended figures such as Newsom and Bass, citing the unique catastrophic nature of the fires. It's a level that we've never seen before as far as the amount of property destruction that's occurring. There are multiple fires happening. There were reports of some man-made set arson fires and things of that nature. So we'll hopefully get to the bottom of all of that as well as to who and why these fires were set, okay, in multiple locations. The government is responding based off of other situations that have happened in the past, and this is a new level of a natural disaster. Newsom has long been a GOP target over issues such as crime and immigration, as has his state, a liberal bastion on the West Coast that's expected to be ground zero for resistance to a second Trump term, okay? So they got time and money to resist Trump. Okay. But they can also fight fires at the same time. That's what they're saying. Newsom is now among several Democratic governors who have been speculated as possible 2028 candidates, along with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. An Emerson College poll taken just after 2024 election found Newsom in second place behind Vice President Harris. Okay. Ahead of several fellow governors. I wonder if Pritzker was in that cadre. Is that the word I'm looking for? In a hypothetical 2028 test, though he notably trailed Harris by double digits. Damn it. Double digits. That's pretty effed up given how she failed. Okay. Newsom, quote, is going to have to learn to live with criticism from all sides because every move that he makes, well intended or not, is going to be criticized as one that's seeking to advance his own interests, quote, McQuan said, noting it's very clear that the governor has been running for president while not running for president, quote. Some suggest the Trump attacks could boomerang on Trump to Newsom's advantage. So this is the Hill getting into the politics that they don't like of it all. Fire hydrants in LA failed as the fires raged. Firefighters struggling to contain and snuff out thousands of acres still on fire as the brutal winds hit. Palisades fire alone, which was uncontained as of Thursday, has scorched more than 17,000 acres, according to CAL FIRE. Oh my God. Nearly 180,000 residents are under evacuation orders, NBC News reports. God, please bless these people, okay? Climate change, which Trump has consistently downplayed and Newsom has sought to make a priority, is also seen as playing a role in the natural disaster playing out in Los Angeles. That depends on how you look at what is climate change. If you're the earth and you've been around for like ever, what is climate change? Quote, when they built the Los Angeles infrastructure, they weren't thinking that 100-mile-per-hour winds could devastate an entire city, quote, Mater said. Quote, I think that every city in America is re-examining their infrastructure, and we have to look at things in a new light because the changing climate is very real. So, yes, the changing climate is very real, and we have to look at our infrastructure, okay? Remember Chicago and the Great Chicago Fire, 1871. Mayor Johnson, would you have been able to repair your city? Whew, child. One can only pray we don't have to ever need to know that answer, okay? But yeah, so, they're saying that the fires have a blame in climate change. Who knows what else is going on with the weather manipulation we have out here? We've had the drones. We don't know what's going on. No one can tell us anything. Maybe, who knows? But New Orleans, okay, they say this attack could have been prevented as well. Hopefully I don't have problems here again. Or not. Or yes or no. All right. Hopefully we're not going to have a problem here. Okay, so the New Orleans attack per this. Okay. The New Orleans attack per this could have been prevented. Would have had a different outcome. This is The Guardian. If steel barriers had been used, inventor says. So the guy who invented it said, hey, we had these things, you guys, and I gave them to you. And what was going on that you didn't use them? So here's a picture of it. Just looks like I don't even know. It basically looks like it'll get caught on something, I guess, like at the curb or the street or something, and then I guess maybe get stuck under the car. I'm guessing it looks like. Yeah, so that is the thing they had, and they could have used this thing to get it there, I guess. And they were like, you know what? Mm-mm. We don't really. I don't really feel like it. We're just gonna see what happens. Okay, that'll be fine. The deadly New Year's attack, New Year's Day truck attack. A truck attacked them. Not a human, not a person. It was a truck. Oh, yes, these transformers are out on the loose. Quote, would have had a completely different outcome, end quote, if city officials had put out 700-pound barriers that they had bought years earlier. Okay, and have a track record of preventing intentional vehicle rammings. The blockade's inventor has told The Guardian. But the city, quote, did not have a full slate of accessories to help move and deploy, quote. Those steel archer barriers quickly in the way they were designed to be, and how authorities elsewhere have managed to do it. Peter Whitford, the chief executive officer of the Meridian Rapid Defense Group, said in an interview, though the archers had stopped a relatively similar ramming attack in California exactly a year earlier in New Orleans, officials came to regard them as too cumbersome to put out and pick back up. Whoa. They couldn't put them quickly. We couldn't get them and put them away quickly. It was just too much of a it was, oh God, not those steel barriers again. Just let the people have a good time. They want to drink and party, not worry about walking around these heavy things that we have to drag outside in the cold. Like, what is it, you know? Though the archers had stopped a relatively so yeah, they were just too covered. I read that. Let's go. New Orleans emergency preparedness officials therefore stored them away, and they were one of 3 types of barriers meant to stop motorists from purposely targeting crowds that were missing in action on January 1st, when an Islamic State terror group sympathizer, oh, now it's not a truck, fatally struck 14 people while injuring about 35 others on the city's famous Bourbon Street. Rest in peace to those people. Whitford late Thursday said the attack, and also to those in California, if I didn't say that already. Whitford late Thursday said the attack and subsequent revelations about why New Orleans chose not to set up its archers have prompted him and other members of his defense company to travel to the city and personally handle furnishing its public safety establishment with the deployment equipment it evidently lacked. He described meeting with local officials to overhaul the barriers in the city stock while also hashing out plans to provide training as well as maintenance on them and their related accessories. He did not elaborate, but the archer barriers New Orleans put out the day after the attack, okay, using equipment and methods not associated with the manufacturer, were covered in rust, cutting a stark contrast with the ones kept in pristine shape in other cities. Okay. It's disappointing to see that same pride elsewhere did not take place in the equipment that we sold to New Orleans, Whitford said. We're going to fix that. Adding that he wasn't sure or concerned about whether Meridian would be paid for the work it was doing to help the city government overhaul the way it viewed its archer barriers. Whitford said, we're here to help New Orleans get to the standard that it needs to get to. Good on them. Whitford's remarks came after New Orleans officials hired former New York and Los Angeles Police Chief William Bratton to review the city's security plans and fortify it against future attacks as it prepares to host the NFL Super Bowl on the 9th of February and the annual citywide carnival celebrations culminating in Mardi Gras on the 4th of March. New Orleans City Hall has been on the defensive about why the archers and 2 other separate barriers meant to impede intentional vehicle rammings were missing at the entrance to Bourbon Street when the attack occurred. The city's government had acquired all of them under former Mayor Mitch Landrieu as part of a $40 million public safety package in 2017. After deadly vehicle attacks had been aimed at crowds in Nice, Berlin, London, New York, and Barcelona. Landrieu left office, in 2019, and officials with the administration of his successor, LaToya Cantrell, have spent time citing flaws with each of the barriers. Is problems with these barriers, so we used air and hope and dreams to protect the pedestrians on Bourbon Street. Was that the answer? I'm sorry, let me let them finish. They have said one kind of barrier, road blocking cylindrical columns known as bollards, was in the process of being replaced on the day of the attack after being worn down by the rigors of Bourbon Street, among the world's most hard-partying drags. Aww. Another, a so-called wedge barrier that can be hydraulically raised and lowered in a matter of seconds. Whew! Imagine, look at it was quick, it was fast. Look at this. It's like the McDonald's, of protection. We've got it handled. It was coming. You just had to wait in the drive-through. That is not, it's too soon, and it was no pun intended. No pun intended. But seriously, come on. What are y'all doing? What are y'all saying here? This is all in retrospect, and it sounds horrific because you should have been thinking about how this would sound right now. No, dude, we want thumbs down. We want thumbs down. Do I get one of those? I don't even know how that works. But that's horrible. So you wanted something that was raised and lowered in a matter of seconds, but it wasn't raised at all. Had been intentionally left in a down position because officials feared it could malfunction and impede first responders. Well, there you go. The risk versus reward. It could malfunction. The off chance it could malfunction. That's the percentage of that versus, right? But it was so quick. Raised and lowered in a matter of seconds. Quick. McDonald's! The McDonald's! Oh, y'all are running. Y'all are running these cities like whorehouses. Telling you. What are you talking about? Raised and lowered in a matter of seconds. Ooh-wee. Sounds great when it works, don't it? When you turn it on. So y'all just ain't even turn it on. That's what we getting at, basically. You ain't even turn it on. You was like, no, because it might not turn off. Then what we gonna do? Where the kill switch? What are y'all doing over there? What are we doing anywhere? Because it's happening in Chicago some way, somehow. I'm just hoping we don't find out in the wrong way. It's already happening. Quick. In a matter of seconds. That's how the terrorist attack happened. Quick in a matter of seconds. But your stuff you ain't even turn it on. This is what they up against. The incompetence. The risk versus reward. Who was supposed to calculate your risks? Where was the percentages at? Where were the percentages of the risk of you putting the not being able to get those bollards down? Those bollards down. What was the risk of that? What was the risk of not being able to get the bollards down? What was the risk of having an event where you needed an emergency vehicle that could not get through there? What's the risks of all of those things happening versus some crazy gets in their car and turn Bourbon Street into a death alley? Y'all gotta live with this stuff, but y'all can't think about that while y'all making these decisions. This everybody. This all of us in general. But it's even worse when you take an oath to service the public. It's even worse when you play politics and blame game with everybody else while your city fails and your state and your country fails and falls apart and falls into the hands of everybody else that wants to do harm to it. It's a whole nother thing when you've been entrusted, taking vows. Voting is a vow. Votar, Latin vow. We trusted you. You know what I'm saying? We trusted you, authority. And look at what we got. Quick and in a matter of seconds. How long did it take you to make that decision? How long did it take y'all to make that decision? You couldn't have looked at the risks. You couldn't have looked at anything about. You didn't talk to this guy. You didn't look at pulling the things out. You ain't even keeping up. The stuff is rusty. The disrespect and the fact that he got to come back and do it all again for free. And y'all gonna blame somebody else. I just can't. Y'all better remember this stuff when y'all get in these voting booths again. That's all I got to say. You remember, before you get in the booth, you need to be, instead of being in that booth, while you're in the line, if you forgot to do it before you got there, you roll with Susie Q, and Susie Q won't shut the hell up about what she gonna do and what she think and all this other stuff. You go pull up your darn stuff and you go research real quick, or you make sure you did that ahead of time. Hopefully you've been watching debates, but please don't just go in here voting for people because you like they last name, because they look like your mama, because they eat the same food you eat, because you like how they laugh and joke and dress, because they got a cone on their head and they be talking real smooth like they think they Obama. And they backed by the CTU. Don't fall for it. Chicago or otherwise. Okay? These people have a duty to uphold, and they not doing it. They're not even concerned enough to notice that they're incompetent and shouldn't even be there. Anybody who cares enough that knows that they not tasked, that knows that they ain't even in it to win it for the people that have put them there, they not even gonna try to be there. That's why it's so hard to get good people to run for government. Because the right people don't even want to, they know, like, that's a huge burden. It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge privilege, honor, all of that. But some people think it's a payback, it's a come up, it's a scheme, it's a power grab. And that's where we messing up. Big time. Because we paying for it. They not paying for it. They on TV looking crazy. They on TV looking crazy. Looking crazy. But then they gonna go right back to smiling in your goddamn face next cycle and think you gonna forget. People have sued, okay? So I'm sorry. So yeah. Some of those injured in the attack, I'm back to the article, and the father of one man who was killed have now sued New Orleans municipal government, claiming it failed to protect revelers ringing in the New Year that day. And I believe they are going to get their due. In a recent interview in WWO Radio, Cantrell's director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, Colin Arnold, acknowledged Meridian's archer barriers, which can be erected side by side or staggered across a roadway and on sidewalks as a great product. Arnold alluded to how they tilt back if struck by a motorist, get tangled under the vehicle, like I said, and then dig into the street and do a massive amount of damage. But he complained moving them makes significant effort that must be thought of a couple days before. And once they're deployed, moving them usually takes 2 or 3 people. Who the bro, like, I'm sorry, man, but like, who did y'all hire down there, man? Like, who did y'all elect down there? These are some of the most moaning and groaning I don't want to do. It's so hard. 2, 3 people, a couple days. What are you talking about? Okay. People are not asking for, what is this? We don't want microwave safety. We don't want microwave government. Okay. We don't want hot pocket. Okay. Protection. Okay. I want you to bake it in. Okay. I want you to marinate it into everything. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. Because it's a great product. The still downplaying it. Yeah. It's a great product, but it takes a lot. However, readily accessible video disproves that it takes up to 2 to 3 people. I hope this interview was. Let me just see. I swear to God, this interview better be. Oh my God, please. 2019, this risk of terrorism. I'm just trying to see if this man really did this interview. Yeah. Okay. So this was done. New Orleans city officials faced many hard questions. Questions must be answered fast. What is the best way to defend against another attempted attack? And this was them talking about this, recent attack. So, yeah. Yeah, they had them in 2017, the Bollards. Yeah, as far as this article said, we're going to cut to it. It says, as far as the 14 who lay dead on New Year's Eve are concerned, the city may as well never invested in them because they was not functioning at the time of the attack. Okay? So, yeah, it's just, what are y'all doing? Yeah, so these are the bollards that are supposed to come down and go up and down. They're so effective and quick, but they didn't want to deploy them. I first heard something about they were being so they were malfunctioning, they were being repaired. So that's why they didn't use them, because they didn't want to use them because they might malfunction. But it's like, what the like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You can't get the expedited repair team out there like right now? Like, what is it? What is it? I'm not an engineer. I was trying to figure it out. I don't know if you saw that, but I was really trying to figure it out for 2 seconds. I was like, how long could this really take? But I'm not gonna try to do that. It's not my job. It's not her job. It's not Mayor Cantrell's job. But she has the people. It's this other person who's doing all this talking, Arnold guy. That caused the downtime for the Matador system from the beginning. We had serious issues trying to keep them clean underneath from where the tracks they operated on, just the sheer amount of debris that we get into these things each night. Other situations that were just as bad would be in the morning around 4 a.m. sanitation, water trucks, deliveries coming, and we'd be able to get them up. We wouldn't be able to get them open. So in terms of effectiveness, explain the trade-off between strength and ease of the operation and maintenance, given the bollards are designed to stop vehicles at varying rates of speeds. The greater the speed you attempt to stop, the greater the burden of operation and maintenance. So right. So why did y'all pay for this shit? That's what I'm saying. Like, make it make sense. You just said it was so quick and easy. It's so quick and easy. It just go up and it go down. But now it's you gotta do maintenance. You gotta keep it clean. The faster it goes, the harder it is to stop it. But then we got the wedge barriers, right? So you didn't have those. And then the archer barriers. And you didn't have those. It's just so hard to move them. Oh. Is there a standout solution? He says the true defense will require variety, none of which would be cheap. Of course not. Because you want to freaking figure out how you could get a piece of that. But regardless of price, safety remains the priority. Jeez, how do these people? Oh my God! It was seen to me that the wedge barrier would be the optimum solution. Arnold says, but they start at about 75K or 100K per unit. I've counted that we need about 24 of them if we want to do every intersection. I'm going to pursue that. I'm just telling you right now. I'm going to pursue it. I bet. To summarize his approach, Arnold said, I think the wedge barriers are the best solution for the side streets to limit traffic from coming onto Bourbon. I think it's well placed. Okay, so all this is just, it's going to be experts that come and know a heck lot more than me. I bet. I bet, Arnold. But being able to keep vehicles out of the area in the first place from getting on Bourbon is going to be the best thing. I'm glad you guys are all getting it now. Are they? Are they getting it now? Are you getting it now, America? Though the Archers had stopped a relatively similar ramming attack in California exactly a year earlier. Yeah, so I read that already. We're back to this. We're back. We're in here. So yeah, I'm just not. So these people sued. And yeah, this man really said this after this happened. He really got on here and tried to tell us what he's going to do and all the money it's going to cost. No. Y'all goofy. There's no other way to say it. They keep wanting to spend your money. We need more money. We couldn't do it last time. We need more money. Oh, sorry. He gave us that money before. I remember that. We need more money. Hey. Hey, we need more. We need more money. More money. Right? What was that? Damon Wayans and them. More money. We need more money. Yeah. So, people die. They need more money. People cry. They need more money. That day, a woman had so this was 2024. Somebody tried to ram down the street in Pasadena, California, they said, and that's where they use these things before. Back to this other article. But yeah, it's crazy out here. Like, Oh, I'm sorry, this is funny. So there was this part's not funny. There was the memorial flowers, teddy bears, and photos of the murdered victims. There was a large truck meant to patch up the city streets. ubiquitous potholes blocking Bourbon, much bigger and wider than the lone police cruiser left in the same position early New Year's Day, which the attacker easily drove around. And there were handwritten messages scrawled on the archer barriers themselves after being brought out from the storage and deployed on the sidewalks at Bourbon Street's entrance, as well as various intersections further up. Use me, one read. Another said, do not hide me. By Friday, the rusted yellow barriers left at Bourbon Street's entrance had been replaced with clean white and green ones. So yeah. The guy had to come back and give him new ones. But yeah, like seriously. Whitford acknowledged having seen the commentary scrawled on the barriers that the company replaced. I got emotional about that because we've had a tragedy on our hands and the people are asking for more, Whitford said, and they're asking for the right things. Yeah, so like, I mean, what is going on? Like, how do y'all live with yourselves? I can't understand it. But, so as far as LA, hopefully it's not the same lack of action that we can point to in like New Orleans with this attack, and hopefully it is not some sort of coordinated attack on LA as well, on top of whatever natural problems, or like I said, they got weather stuff out here. All right, so yeah, woke mind virus is really the issue, I think, in all of this. And I just want to conclude with saying that there is some questioning that we should be able to do. So like Stacey Davis Gates was behind reposting one of those posts about Karen Bass being attacked, right, for being a woman. All right. Can we minimize the misogyny? They are gaslighting Karen Bass the same way they did Kamala. We as being allies need to call it out immediately when it happens in real time, because they are already creating a false narrative about her on this app. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's the video is just right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not misogyny. She's clearly DEI and an effing idiot. They are not gaslighting her. They are speaking the truth. They can't handle it. Why do you make excuses for incompetence? This is me reading X, y'all, okay? X, sorry. She failed at her job and she can't even answer questions about it. This is part of her job as well, to answer questions. She is not the victim. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, y'all want us to be soft on the damn politicians. They don't give a F about you, and you want me to sit here and be like, oh, look, she got feelings. I don't give a shit. She's supposed to do her job. She's supposed to save me. She could go have her mental breakdown on her time, okay? with her own money, not with tax money, okay? You came out here doing this old F stuff, then you got the, come on now. I'm just saying. Now, yeah, of course, she couldn't have predicted she was going to be out of town when the fire happened. Maybe. I'm just saying. But, yeah. What's going on? Like, what, right, Pam Cow 0826 said, what has color and gender got to do with it? Okay, what Gavin Newsom's color and gender is. He's getting his ass kicked here, too. That's what I'm saying. What y'all crazy. Y'all want to make this about whatever y'all want to make this about. So Stacey Davis Gates retweeted that. And, it is what it is. Oh, hold on. I found something else. Wow, leaked memo reveals LA Mayor Karen Bass demanded the fire department cut $48.8 million from their budget just days before the fires broke out. Dang, girl, that don't look too good. That doesn't look too good, ma'am. Department updates. LAFD is going through a fiscal year 2024-25, right? $48.8 million reduction exercise with the CAO. The Fire Chief Board of Fire Commissioner, CAO, UF, I don't know what all it stands for. And their message in 16 fire stations, closed as many as 16 fire stations, okay? Not resources, fire stations. Just the stations, not the resources, okay? And it will be added to all that. Yeah, so I think the chief alluded to that when we listened to her. But yeah, I mean, shameful things here. When you think about it, you guys, you don't take it seriously. So Stacey Davis Gates thinks that the DEI stuff just fits everything. I mean, the she thinks that every scenario is going to be fixed with DEI, and it's just not it. And then you're gonna keep you leaning into it's because I'm black, it's because I'm a woman, it's because this, because that. It's like, no, we need you to do the job right with your brain here. That has no gender. That, well, it could sometimes, but you know what I'm saying. With your qualifications, with your merits, okay, what you can actually accomplish and uphold here, okay, how moral you are, how much you can stay on task, okay, how much you can resist temptation, okay. That's what we need here, not your skin color, not your creed, okay. Woke mind virus. That's what the problem is. Elon said it years ago and it's coming back around. I caught a live. Alex Jones was talking about it. And so, yeah, the Karen Basses are protected by it. The Stacey Davis Gates thinks she can be protected by it. The Brandon Johnson thinks he can be protected by it. But, you're not going to get away with it forever.
When you stop caring about people's skills, their integrity, and you start focusing instead on gender and race and other things that are different from that, the woke mind virus is fundamentally racist, fundamentally sexist, and fundamentally evil. Woke mind virus is
I'm just
when
saying.
you stop caring about people's.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Make it make sense. It is. You don't care about people. It's evil. You start doing stuff that just absolutely destroys your own lives because you're not even caring about what matters. You're just looking at the superficial. It's very narcissistic. It's very vain. I want to see myself in everything. I want to see myself in everything. That was narcissist, right? That was narcissist. I want to see myself in everything. So now you see yourself. You see the destruction. Do you see it? Do you see yourself in it? Do you see yourself in that shit? It's communism rebranded. Is it? I'm looking at it. I'm trying to see what's the difference. Somebody tell me. Put it in the comments. Tell me. ¿Cuál es la diferencia?
Over the past year or so, since purchasing X, you've become more political. Is there a part of you that regrets that?
Have I?
In this battle to sort of counterweigh the woke that comes from
I guess
San
if you
Francisco?
consider fighting the woke mind virus, which I consider to be a civilizational threat, to be political, then yes.
So basically going into the battleground of politics. Is there a part of you that regrets
Yes,
that?
I don't know if this is necessarily sort of one candidate or another candidate, but it's I'm generally against things that are anti-meritocratic or where there's an attempt to suppress discussion, where even discussing a topic is, not allowed. The woke mind virus is communism rebranded.
Over the past year or so.
It's as simple as that. I mean, it's really as simple as that. It's communism rebranded. It can't be, I can't, because it doesn't make sense. Like, look at this crap right here, right? We got fires, but people want to tell us, right, that the inmates on the front line should get the same benefits as the firefighters who have not committed any crimes, who are upstanding people. It's people in the comments legitimately like people should be freed immediately and given housing and benefits and allowed to work for the fire department and get cars and medical and pensions. It's crazy. So forget the debt to society, huh? Forget the debt to society. You murdered, you killed, whatever. I'm not assuming the murders are but you got people who've done crimes out here, and now suddenly they're supposed to, if they volunteer for this program or however exactly it's working, they're supposed to now be equated to someone who's taken tests, passed certifications, devoted their life and their physical, all their sacrifices to this work, and done it so in a way for the community that is honorable, and you want them to suddenly be on the same par with jail people, druggies. I don't know who's out here helping. I'm not trying to label anyone, but I'm just saying this is really what y'all want. Y'all want people who just committed crimes to be on the same level as people who've been doing the exact right thing forever and ever. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be forgiven and given a pathway to correction, but what I'm saying is you guys are crazy. You guys are equating a moment of humanity with, oh, well, this guy, I can trust him. No, this is what I'm saying. Did they really get y'all with the man versus bear? Because it's really given y'all believe that you're going to really bring the bear in the house. The bear don't speak English. The bear is not human. The bear does not know you, ma'am. Okay. The bear's not gonna hold and hug you at night. The bear's gonna want more than whatever you put on that plate. Okay. Shut the F up about the bear. Okay. Now y'all out here, y'all want the man at the jail to be out here in your homes with access to whatever, and all equipment and axes and stuff. Fighting fires. Oh, I already did this. Let's get to it. I'm sorry. Just so incensed by this. 30% of people fighting the flames are incarcerated. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right? But the comments is killing me. Okay? Like somebody said, I'm torn because they also owe a debt to society. Like, so Afropunk is saying, amid the raging fires Afropunk, this is on Instagram. Amid the raging fires, it's important to recognize that nearly a third of those risking their lives to protect California are incarcerated individuals. These heroes, often overlooked, are on the front lines battling flames in exchange for shorter sentences and a stark reminder of the labor inequities they face. We extend, like, what? Like, what? How are we framing this? The labor inequities they face? Like, what? What? Okay. We extend gratitude to these individuals while also calling attention to their need for systemic change. Their bravery deserves not just thanks, but justice and opportunities beyond exploitation. I'm torn because they also owe a debt to society. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, them being incarcerated and losing their freedom is their debt. Everything else is modern slavery. But says they are not prisoners, they are slaves. They are prisoners, not slaves. They are mostly black and brown, prosecuted sins way more harshly. Me too, depends on what they did to be incarcerated. So I'm just reading comments here. If they incarcerated for weed or theft, I feel a type of way about this. But if they're incarcerated for murder, SA, or anything with children, I feel another way. Exactly. Specify no one convinced of violent crimes is eligible to work. That's what I figured. So violent crimes are not eligible, so including SA and pet, right? So it's mostly non-violent official offenses, and they're volunteering for shorter sentences. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just like, do something. Like, what? I don't know what y'all want. These people was out here stealing, running around. They didn't have no activity to do. They had energy for that, but they didn't have it to go fight no fires and save no lives. They don't owe a debt that requires firefighting, and none of them owes a debt that requires what is essentially slavery. So, I mean, it is a fine line. I know. I get it with the the railroad exploitation, how they did with the banks and the the convict leasing. But yeah, their life shouldn't be on the line 4 hours when they were already sentenced. Yeah, so people are mostly like, I know someone who's in this program is completely voluntary, and everyone who signs up wants to do it. That's what I figured. Like, I mean, I don't know that there's a way that they can legally just force these men to do this. So, like, because the alternative is doing your time, dumb fuck. I'm sorry, Mila Diaz is just stupid here. Because the alternative is, of course, they want to do it. Doesn't make it justice. They still deserve better. So they want them to get like full benefits. That's what I'm saying. They're volunteering to get shorter time. Then they can get out and they can apply if they want or do whatever they need to do to be on the pathway to a proper, you know what I'm saying? Like career and not being a criminal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the issue here? So, if that is the case, why are y'all framing this like these people are being like exploited? Several major fires broke out in LA, 5 deaths, 2,000 destroyed buildings, 2,900 acres burned, 130K residents under evacuation. I think the other one reported more, so it's a little less. So yeah, prisoners in the state's 35 minimum security conservative camps are trained to assist government agencies in responding to disasters. People convicted of violent crimes are not eligible. Allows incarcerated people to shorten their sentences by working as fire. So it allows them to. It's not forcing them to. So it's, again, like what? Incarcerated people make up as much as 30% of California's wildfire force. The work that incarcerated firefighters do can be life-threatening. In the 2010s, at least 4 people died on the job and over 1,000 others needed hospital care. In comparison to the professional firefighters, they're also 4 times as likely to be physically injured, 8 times as likely to suffer injuries or illness from smoke inhalation. I mean, but they volunteered, bro. I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, they don't, someone has to explain this to them, but I mean, you have to know what fire does. Incarcerated firefighters in California take on this dangerous work for minimal pay. They typically earn $5.80 to $10.24 per day. When responding to a disaster, they gain an extra $1 per hour. Because prisoners are paid so little, the state saves $100 million a year. I mean, but we're feeding and clothing them for free this whole time. I'm just saying. Additionally, because of their criminal records, many of California's incarcerated workers aren't able to pursue careers in firefighting after being released. Aww. So that's unfortunate. In 2020, a new law attempted to make it easier for former incarcerated firefighters to have their records expunged. So that would be nice. However, as of 2022, only 12 people have benefited from this. Now, why is that? See, that's what I'm saying. That's Democrats' problem right there. Why is it not working? Why do you have the programs and they don't have success? You need to follow up with that. That's where the problem is. You guys just like put money in a thing and then it's like, oh, it didn't end up right. And then you just go throw money at something else. No. Follow up, research what could have went wrong, then fix it. What the hell? These prison labor issues aren't limited to California firefighters. 2 of every 3 prisoners in the U.S. are workers across the country. Many are working for little to no pay, subjected to unsafe working conditions, threatened with additional punishment if they refuse to work. Because they're incarcerated, they aren't legally protected against labor exploitation and abuse. So yeah, I'm against the abuse, of course, and exploitation, but it's like the people who are just like outright like, oh my God, this is slavery. Like, oh my God. It's like, come on, relax now. Like these people did a crime and they're volunteering. Now, outside of that, whether they're being put at risk, they kind of have to weigh that themselves. If they don't know better, that is also very sad. But also, people need to realize that we keep making life soft for everyone who doesn't necessarily need to have an easy pathway because they need to be pushed. Like, I'm not gonna do this ish no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm doing this, I'm gonna be like, not again. As incarcerated people fight the fires in Southern California, social media users are calling attention to how the U.S. exploits prisoners for labor. Now seems like a good time to remind people that a significant portion of firefighters working for the Palisades fire are incarcerated. Thinking of the incarcerated firefighters who are out there risking their lives for their fellow Californians with little to no benefits, slave wage pay, and ability to use their skills upon release. Well, throw them a freaking party, will you? Raise them some money and put it on their books. You guys, it's very easy. Put money on their books. As you're seeing these fires ravage California, remember 30% of the state's wildland firefighters are incarcerated people. Pay $5 a day to risk their lives. When released, they're often banned from firefighting jobs. It's exploitation, not justice. That's what I'm saying. What happens to the community? Hey, put a little pot in. You get them, well, maybe not pot, depending on their depending on their conviction. But you get them whatever, and you guys, help them out. Get them a place. Get them on their feet. Hazla algo. You know what I mean? A la situación, hazla algo, ¿no? Yeah. So ACLU on it again. All these liberals on that ish again, because it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's like, don't frame it like these people are just enslaved here, because these people in the comments was going crazy. And I just want to point that out. It's just like, what are we doing that's our reaction to stuff? It's like, oh my God, a criminal is being punished. No. All people should be treated the same, even the ones who did horrible things. All right, and so finally, LA fires, but Trump. Robert Rivas totally fumbling here. These reporters going in.
Is now the right time to have a special legislation?
I could take a couple of questions. I do have to jump on a call here in a few minutes.
With that, with what you just mentioned and kicked off here, is now the right time to have a special legislative session on allocating money to fight Trump in a way that you could already do without a special legislative session?
So I'm here to address these wildfires. This is a historic wildfire. This is a historic event. These wildfires, as I mentioned, are going to be quite possibly some of the worst wildfires and disasters in state and in national history.
While this wildfire is happening, and while people are trying to understand what's going on and are worried about disaster relief, worried about the ability to get homeowners insurance, your chamber gavelled into a special legislative session to prepare for Donald Trump in a way that you are already able to do without a special legislative session. So again, is now the right time for that?
So certainly our focus right now is Speaker Ashley. At this moment, my colleagues and I, we are acting with great urgency to ensure that we're providing much needed relief to Angelenos, to ensure that we understand what it's going to take for this region to recover, and to support those that have been most impacted by this disaster. The response from our first responders has been unprecedented, and they're doing all that they can to control and contain again these multiple fires. They're doing whatever they can to ensure that that they're keeping people safe now, and again, in anticipation and in preparation for recovery. And as a state, as a legislature, we will do everything we can to support that recovery.
That close shot was brutal. I think because she was attractive, that was really throwing him off more than anything. He's like, why is this attractive woman mad at me? Oh my God. Wildfire. Oh. So yeah, there's a lot to say about the politics of it all and Democrats and how things just don't seem to line up. It says LA deputy mayor placed on leave after FBI raids home for allegedly making bomb threat. That was in 2023. Then you got Carrie Bass. Somebody put all these together. Like, these people are crazy. Newsom misled the public about wildfire prevention efforts ahead of worst fire season on record in 2021. Guess who elected President Trump? We did. Legislative session is about to fight us. What the people want, the Democrats want to burn office down. This is who they are, evil. They lie about everything. So this was posted by Johnston won on X. But yeah, like, I mean, why does LA have fires? I'm sorry, 13K fires. This is a meme that this person posted with a few others of the headlines that I just read. 13K fires started by homeless last year. Zero forest management. Mayor cut fire department by 18 million. Firefighters for not getting vaxxed. Launched DEI Bureau instead of training. No water because California didn't fill the wet reservoirs. It's not Trump's fault. It's your woke joke. Yeah. And so I think there was also a clip of the so LA fire husband, something like that. It was, yeah, here it is.
It gives that person a little bit more ease. You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire. You want to see
how do you get yourself? I want to see somebody that looks like me in a fire. No, ma'am. I just want to see somebody get me out this mother. And because your husband, I'm not understanding any of this. First of all, why are we assuming the husband weighs more than her? Okay. Then the husband, like, what is he doing in the fire? Being a person in a firefighter? Like, what? Yo, so like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this the stuff that y'all into. And I need y'all to get out of it. All right, so 2025 is off to one heck of a start, and we got to think about all of the factors at play right now. But there's a lot to think about overall if you're still wondering what's happening. But we got to be on a swivel because it's seriously all hands on deck for real. Shout out, speaking of which, Chicago Flips Red. Thanks to Zoe Lee for shouting me out on their last live that they did on Alderman Rodriguez, I think it was, and their all their efforts to get everybody down to the city council on Wednesday, which we talked about in the other part of this video. I had to break it up because it's a little long. It was a little long. So thanks for hanging out with me. Sometimes I get a little long-winded. It was one of those days, and I wasn't really feeling it, but we got it done, right? But yes, there's a lot to be done in Chicago and elsewhere, and we're gonna get it done. But yeah, let's get down there to City Hall if you can, and show support. And there's a lot coming, for sure, with Trump and everything else. Hopefully, some changes that we've been looking forward to as far as getting rid of some deep-seated corruption that needs to be dismantled. And I think that the only way it's going to happen is if Democrats just really have their wake-up call. Like, we're not going for this stuff. Like, it's not helping anyone. We need the real substantial help, not just the stuff that dreams and fluff and feel good saccharine lies are made of, so that you can fill your pockets and send us to sleep or to the slaughter. All right, and on that note, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you again. Please make sure you have liked, shared, subscribed, commented. Let me know what's going on where you are. What is your concern in your city? Are you in a blue city? Have you been in a red city? What is it like? Because I don't know. I'm born and raised here, so. But it's, I know for sure I would rather people just leave me alone and let me spend my money how I need to spend it than to keep doing what this is, because this is disastrous. But if you can't protect your citizens, then what else do we need you for? Because that's the bare minimum, is the protection of your citizens. And so if you're not making every effort there, when you swear these oaths to protect all citizens as much as you can, and stop spewing names because they look differently than you when they criticize your incompetence, okay? Or that's the easy thing to say to derail their efforts to audit you and your behaviors and your spending, okay, of our energy, our time, our vote, our trust, right? All right, we got to get them together. It's town square time. No, seriously though, we got to start really calling people out on their stuff and letting them know that it is not. We can't do it anymore. We can't. It's costing too much. Costing lives. It's costing too much, and they just keep wanting more and more, and they don't see the error in their ways, and so we're gonna have to make it evident when we go to these polls, when we show up to meetings and council sessions, and we vote and put our money where our mouth is and put the pen to work and do whatever we can where we can. Everything doesn't have to be street activism. Everything doesn't have to be political activism necessarily. We just have to work as being better humanitarians and taking care of the community. Where the government is failing, we as small businesses and communities need to pick up that slack. So wherever you can do what you can do, you definitely need to do it, and do it tenfold where you can and can afford to, but also still hold people accountable, because they're expending your resources and putting a bad name out there for the people who look like you, especially if they're using that as their platform in your name while destroying your own exact community. It's atrocious. All right, you guys, take care. 2025 is going to be wonderful for those who have come to peace with the dualities of life and who are not too busy gang banging right now. But we got to come to the middle. We got to come back to humanity. But 2025 can be beautiful if we all just come around a table and really work together as humanity. Okay, for the last time, for real. Peace.